How was your day, Drake?
My day was great. I just ran some errands. Chill, relax.
Mm.
Been blessed and highly favored. Been prepared. I wouldn't say fully preparing, but just being anticipating this moment right here.
It's overdue. I apologize. It's overdue. But we here now. Okay. We're gonna make it turn into what? Lemonade. Okay. And not the Beyonce kind. No shade to Beyonce. I am representing today.
Okay.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Um, this is for Cozy Womb Podcast. My name is Shan from shanbypodden.com, shanbypodden on Twitter, shanbypodden on TikTok. Okay. I am the PodFam Queen affiliate. I am part of a great group of podcasters, which Drake is a part of also. And what have I been doing having a parenting podcast that Drake has not been on? I don't know. But I feel like Drake is doing some great things on sharing some great knowledge that should be shared among family first before anyone else. I consider Drake good family, good pod fam, all of that good stuff. So welcome to Cozy Womb Podcast. I wanted to do this episode with you because I think it's super important. I think there are good and not so well informed individuals who are around children, have children, experience what it's like to be responsible for children, but don't know how. And so I wanted to do this episode. It is Saturday night. We are on different coasts.
All right.
Facts. We are on different coasts. And
I'm sorry. I had to.
I hope you can see Drake's sweater. He's giving me sweater vibes right now. Okay. Welcome to Cozy Womb Podcast, Drake. Y'all, I have a special guest. Okay, Mr. Everythang Culture. He has his own podcast called Everythang Culture. Not Everything Culture, Everythang Culture, because this man is from the South, the Texas, the big Texas. Okay.
Third coast.
And very intelligent, very much about knowing your heritage, knowing your history, and sharing it, and not being ignorant out here to other people's cultures. And his podcast is based upon appreciation for all cultures through 3 pillars. Okay, what are the 3 pillars that he's always pushing out here? Respect, communication, and consistency, because without consistency it means nothing. Okay, so if you want more about Drake, please visit Everythang Culture at Everythang Culture on IG, TikTok, and Twitter, and everythangculture.com. He also has a great shop where you can support the podcast, let other people know about the podcast. I should have worn my Everythang Culture sweatshirt.
I can go and grab the she gets it. We can do the flipperoo.
You know what I'm saying? I'll do it when I post this thing. I'll do it.
Okay.
But we've recorded together on many other podcast shows, but just not Cozy Womb. Cozy Womb Podcast is a podcast I created, my first podcast in 2018, to tell people the real about parenting, not the fluffy, cute stuff, but the real about it, because it's not always great. It's not always amazing. It's not always easy.
You don't say.
Listen, it's not for everybody. It shouldn't be for everybody. And I think we're going to touch on that tonight. But before I get into that, Drake, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background working with kids.
So once again, Drake with Everythang Culture. But I'm gonna give y'all a bit of Mr. Drake. I'm basically about to drop my resume and my LinkedIn profile for y'all. So my interest working with the youth and working with families started when I was I guess in the middle school, and it's because of the experience I've had in my life. I was partially to it. I was neglecting myself as a child. seen a lot of things. My mother suffered from mental illness as well as substance abuse, and I was taken in by a family member. And thank God, my family member, people to step up, and it was basically the village that really supported me in my life coming together. But I went to junior college. I was able to get 3 academic scholarships. Then I went to college. Shout out to U of H, go Cougs, where I majored in psychology and minored in sociology with the emphasis on industrial organizational as well as with child development. And while doing that work, after I graduated, well, I was thinking about what I want to do next, and it was suggested like, the state of Texas, be a caseworker. So I think that'd be pretty cool. Let me
Mm.
check it out. And I remember at first they were not hiring. 2009 was a crazy year where there was a lot of job freezes. The market was crashing. If everybody remembers 2009, it was a crazy year. And I was like, you know what? I said, I was about to become a correction officer, actually. I was applying to work at a
Mm.
prison and they were about to hire me on. And I got that call. First, I got the email and I got the phone call. And I had to drive back down to Houston for the interview, take this test, blah, blah, blah. But long story short, I was hired on to be a conservatorship 2 worker for the state of Texas. And that is under Department of Family Protective Services, which is under Child Protective Services. And I served in that role for close to 2 years, a little bit over a year and a half. And I worked with dozens of children while
Mm.
doing that, numerous families and numerous court hearings and experiences and traveling and seeing a lot of different situations as a caseworker. And then I went into the went to work for a nonprofit by the name of Child Advocates, maybe known in some areas as CASA, is serving as court appointed special advocates. And I served as a guardian ad litem, and I partnered with volunteers that really served as a guardian ad litem. And while doing so, I saw a different side of the system. And I did that for 3 years. And I work with over 100 plus children doing that. And then I moved into an outreach role where where I really touched into my public speaking, into my recruitment, into my training, kind of what you see with Everythang Culture, what you'll see here, where I
Mm.
really was able to communicate and explain and how to help people understand what the system may look like, the difficulties of it, building boundaries, as well as communicating with other people that you may not communicate with. And I did that for 5 years. And now I'm a volunteer. I do this. I don't get paid to do what I used to get paid to do. I do it out of the kindness of my heart and helping families out, working with children, helping the court out to make sure these children are not being abused and neglected. So, and abuse and neglect come in numerous different ways. And not only making sure they're not being abused and neglected, making sure the family have a fair chance and these children have a fair chance, because sometimes abuse and neglect is not happening. It's just poor communication.
Mm.
And, to add a little bit more, I'm also a family law and civil mediator where, if you have an issue or problem, you can come reach out to me and I can work that out for a fee, of course.
Mm.
And yeah, right now that's in my career. I'm in human resources right now, but yeah, that's what we do.
I love it. I love it. All right. So you guys got the ends on Drake in that way. So I want to really focus this episode on just making everyone around children, whether you're a caregiver or a teacher or, a family member or just an adult, maybe a neighbor, and you see a child, um, what neglect looks like,
Mm,
and when to say something, who to say something to, and the reality of what the process may look like CPS wise, for children to get help. So,
mhm.
my next question is, what are 3 common neglect issues that kids face in your experience?
See, you said we're talking simply about neglect. We're not talking about abuse as well.
Talk about neglect, because I think that's what most people, um Most, I
Most
feel like,
cases are neglect though, like
yeah.
that. So and that's the thing about it. Most of them are they're going to have neglect involved. Even
Mm,
when there's physical abuse, usually it's going to be all like, is neglect going to be there as well? It's not
yeah.
like, it's not always separated. It's always like, if a child has been abused, physically abused,
Mm-hmm.
of course emotional abuse is going to come, and probably medical neglect is going to go right behind it as well.
Right.
So all those things kind of go hand in hand, but the majority of time, the type of neglect we see is just simple physical neglect, as far as supervision of children.
Mm,
Being like Shannon and I, we talk about it all the time, and I've seen it myself, but parents just not being aware where their children are located,
mm-hmm.
leaving them at home by themselves, um, having the kids just wander off, parents abusing substances.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot that goes into a certain type of neglect. Um, Medical neglect is another. Sometimes I say all the time, education is key.
Mm-hmm.
Some parents may have children with special needs, and they don't know how to attend to those special needs, and that could lead to medical neglect. Um, and other type of neglect just may be, well, malnourishment, which also could be physical, fall into medical neglect, is not medical, but physical neglect as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that type of neglect is heavy, and also fall under physical, would be and it kind of goes under abuse as well, but this is neglect. For instance, a parent not protecting a child,
Wow.
or a parent being abused themselves and allowing it to happen to them, from a
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend or someone else. That goes under neglect as well. I've seen numerous cases where the mother or the father make statements like, I wasn't the one that's doing it to my child, so why am I getting in trouble? But
Right.
you're in a household, you're there, you're aware that this is happening, but you're choosing not to do something. It's like just being irresponsible of protecting that child. That is neglect.
Hmm. Okay. Why would someone or anyone call CPS, and what is the sole purpose of CPS?
So someone will call CPS hopefully to provide have a resource for protecting a child.
Okay.
CPS is Child Protection Services. Once again, CPS was started. CPS really didn't go into effect as Child Protective Services until the 80s. I don't give you the exact date right now,
Mm-hmm.
but really originally it started out in 1874 by one of the first kids that really brought it up was Mary Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Allen, in once again 1874, was her parents completely neglected her, skipped town, left her with the neighbors, and the neighbors started, the neighbors weren't feeding her, they were beating her. She was out in the cold by herself. She was. I ain't trying to curse on this episode, but she was messed up. Okay, let's say that she was really messed up, and some other neighbors figure out what was going on. And once again, they didn't have a system, so they brought it in, and they had to go to court, and they brought in a court in a horse blanket.
Mm.
The SPCA, which that is based on animal rights, where sometimes it's conflicting stories, but it's no doubt, there's no argument that the SPCA was actually effective in starting child welfare rights, because we had animal rights before we had children's rights. Like if you kicked a
Mm.
horse or you hurt a dog or a cat, you would probably get some type of punishment. But if you did that to a child, it was nothing set in place for that. All right.
Okay.
So when someone's seeing, and that elevated throughout the time where doctors start putting in actual medical diagnosis or legal verbiage for child abuse and what it looked like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
continued to grow from there. So the juvenile courts were created to help out juveniles, as well as the betterment, for instead of put them in adult prisons and things, adult jails and things. But case in point, we're going back to your question. CPS, once again, is Child Protection Services. Is make sure to alleviate risk as well. It's not, we don't wait, well, they don't wait until they should not wait until that
Mm-hmm.
child is being abused. If they see any sign of abuse and neglect, they should be informed. They should be reactory to this action. but they can't do anything unless people call them.
Right.
So it's something is responsibility of the community and society to step up and make that decision to call and understand the resource that they have, but also understand the ramifications for it. Sometimes you may not need to call CPS. Sometimes, but think about it, if you're leaning towards this child may be in danger, this child may be in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
I always lean on calling CPS. As me being a CASA volunteer, and then when I was a caseworker, if you're a teacher, if you're a nurse, if you have anything to do with medical, anything working with children, you are lawfully required to call CPS. In Texas, it's once again the number is 1-800-252-5400. And it's a simple call, or you can go online and just leave a voice message or just talk to someone. You can be anonymous if you like. But it's been numerous times where it's like, man, should I, shouldn't I? If you're in that mindset of you don't know what to do and you don't have time, make the call because you never know what happened. I promise you'll sleep better at night. But that's one of the reasons why people should call CPS. I don't know if you can go into the signs. If you see a child, like once again, if you see a kid wearing a sweater like I'm wearing right now in the middle of June or July,
Mm.
that's something that catches my attention.
Let me tell you
Um,
something. I'm really big on driving through Atlanta and seeing someone in a bubble down coat in the middle of summer. Ain't
oh,
nothing right about that. And you need to keep your distance.
hey, as an adult, I'm gonna leave them alone. But as a child, I'm gonna make a
Yes.
call. Let me tell you that
Yeah.
because it's so many details that it doesn't mean that child is being abused, but these are signs. If
Yeah.
you see a child that don't want to go home, they're scared of adults, they're very high intense triggered. Like if somebody raised their hand, they move,
Mm-hmm.
or they jerk away, they cry all the time, the unstable. If you're a daycare worker and things, you see this child wetting themselves. That's a sign of if we get into sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a child that's even with they're usually a good kid in school, they make good grades, and their grades just slip all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
That is a sign of potential child abuse and neglect. It's so many different things that go into effect to show those signs should you call CPS. Sometimes you can ask certain questions. Some of the questions that I advise people to ask: who, when, and where.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to affect the investigation as well. You want to keep it as light as possible. You don't want to make sure this child, you don't make sure you're asking directly questions so they can make their own story up in their head. So
Yeah.
you just, yeah, and that who, when, and where. Did I say who, when, and where? I believe I said
Yeah.
that's helpful because when you just give them that, they can make it determine when this happened, had this happened before. It's painting a timeline out for them. The location. If the abuse happened, if this is once again, these are usually I train my volunteers to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But like I ask you, who is it? Somebody we know? Is it somebody in the household?
Mm-hmm.
Um, is it a teacher? Is it is somebody at a place of worship, anything of that nature?
Mm-hmm.
So these are things helpful. Where is it happening in the household? Are we going to place that child back in that home where it's happening?
Right.
Or are we back in that location? Are we helping or hurting the problem? Okay.
Right.
Um, and when was it? Today? Was it a year ago? Was it a few hours? Things of that nature is really beneficial to conduct an investigation. So these are things we look for as well. But as far as neglect, is seeing children wandering. If they don't see where
Man,
they're.
there's so many videos right now on TikTok of kids
Mhm.
just being in the street. You found a child, being alone outside by themselves at an age where they should not be outside by themselves. It's
Absolutely.
becoming a more common thing, and it's I understand times have changed. Communities have less of a community, less of a village
Mhm.
mindset. I think the people of this generation are very much as a result of afterthought, and that's none of my business. And when it comes to kids, I feel like you can't really say that's none of my business to for a certain age range. I feel like if that child cannot speak up for itself, if that child cannot pinpoint this is what's happening to me, I feel like as an adult, it is your responsibility to be aware of the kids that you're around and the kids that you live next to. I've lived next to women who had multiple kids ranging from like 14 to 2, where their 2-year-old is always outside in a diaper in the street. And I'm not saying that, oh, that lady's a horrible mom, but
What's
maybe
going?
she, yeah,
What?
what's going on? Maybe she has too much on her plate. And how can we prevent this from happening? Because I'm not outside all the time.
And that's the thing, the tricky thing about it, you said it right there, is the village mindset has deteriorated to a large degree.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why CPS getting involved. So many things with state programs, state agencies getting involved because the community is not stepping up in the need, or it's it's so detailed how we like to break the philosophy down behind this, the social construct behind it. Um, but it always start inside the household. It start within the family. What happened
Mhm.
there, um, and and once again, I was just looking at my notes from I've taken before, but it's 5 different categories that's looked at as neglect, and that is physical, medical, abandonment, refusal to accept parental responsibility, and super neglectful supervision. Neglectful supervision, as I said earlier, is the absolute highest. Okay, that is abuse and neglect, all of those categories. Neglectful supervision is the highest. All right.
Mhm.
As we just saying, do you know where your child is at right now? Wasn't that
Right.
a
It
wasn't that
was
an
a
ad back in the
commercial.
day? Yeah, wasn't
Yeah, it
that a
was a
commercial
do
back in
you
the
know where
day?
your kids are?
Hey, seriously though, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like, and once again, I have so many stories and experiences. Even when I found that little boy, the situation was I could have called CPS right then and there.
Mhm.
But me knowing the work, knowing to being a community member, taking a
Mhm.
little bit of time out. But I saw other people in my community that just looked around and like, who baby's that? I saw my neighbors with kids look at that little baby walk down the street. And I'm like, yo, dude, you got what if that was your son, man? What would you want people to do?
Right.
But people kind of have that mindset like, hey, my name Ben and I ain't in it.
Yeah. Speaking on, the CPS process,
Mm-hmm.
why is the process for help so long with CPS? So like for instance, I've watched documentaries of horrible cases
Mm-hmm.
where teachers called repeatedly. A CPS worker did come out with an officer, and for some reason it just got passed like, okay, we'll check back in, and it got passed from person to person to person until a point of a horrible result. And I remember being in my 20s, and the popular book in my 20s that people were reading was A Child Called It.
Uh-huh.
Why is the
Yeah.
process regarding CPS so long before something positive as a change for a child that does need help
Mm.
can be done?
That's a great question, and it's a complicated response. And that's the
Mm,
truth because it's complicated. It's very that is a multi-layered experience because it's not always long. You know,
mm,
it's certain situations when it happens.
yeah,
And the thing is, just like if you were on TikTok, or social, you done sent me videos where people
yeah,
will say if CPS show up to your door, this is what you can do to stop them from going in. This is what you do to protect your rights. And parents do have rights.
yeah.
And the thing is, you just and that. But if that parent that have rights are abusing their children, it's harder to remove.
Mm,
Then if that child and it just take one time, okay, you go out try to do a visit, and they block you from doing the visit, and you go home, you go back, that family might be gone from that house, may have moved to a whole different location, remove the
mm,
kids out of school. Now the kids not in school and the teachers can't do nothing. it's so many, and it's been a lot of processes have been put in place to stop those behaviors and stop that action. Like the
Mm,
caseworker will go to the school, and so another caseworker go to the house and talk to the parents and see how
mm,
things go. And they may not allow them children to go back home. You
mm.
know, it's certain techniques and ways to go by it, but a lot of people would try to protect that. And like once again, I've seen a lot of conversations and me in my profession. I'm like, are you just protecting your rights, or are you protecting what you're doing to these children? You're hiding out.
Right.
You know, I've seen live and effect cases and situations where that woman that was 18, I think she may have been 18, that but she had delays, and that older gentleman got a. It was a lot of stuff to go into it, but I can tell immediately, like, he's not only abusing that young woman, but he's probably like what he's doing is going to be a long process into it.
Yeah.
But the main focus is because people have rights. And if I can break down how the system and where I work in Region 6A is, when a call is made out, okay, investigation is made out. If abuse happened in the home, it would still have to go to court. You still have to go to the court and
Mm-hmm.
petition the court for the children to be removed. CPS can do an emergency removal sometime, and once they emergency removal, they still must go to court within 24 hours and keep permission. Because CPS may even get the kids, but if the judge say return the kids back, CPS have to return the kids back.
Mm,
It's out of their jurisdiction. But if judge may say, okay, the let's say CPS get involved, they don't want to remove. Abuse happened or neglect has happened, they can provide services to the family. That's called family-based safety services. And the kids stay home with their parents. CPS, the state of Texas, I think that's through the county. Your county may pay for services, they may pay for bills, help out with parenting classes, transportation for the kids back and forth from school and things
mhm.
of that nature. It's really a dope resource.
Okay,
But
and I want to talk about that right there because
mhm,
you made a point. Because a lot of people like to say, "Oh, this government is not preventative. They don't have any resource in place for the parents." They just automatically see a parent not being able and take the kids out the house when entirely there are resources that are available that are told to them. They're
mhm,
just, sometimes it's pride, sometimes it's I don't want people in my business, sometimes it's oh, I don't want to be caught with a food stamp card or wick. I'm better than that. And because of their pride, because of their ego, their kids
mhm.
struggle
Yes.
because of the work hours they work. Their kids don't get picked up on time, and they get deeper into this hole until, yes, now responsibility wise as a parent, you are holding these children back from being able to go to the dentist when they're supposed to, go see their pediatrician, go to school when they're supposed to, because schools, you physically have to have these kids in school um a certain amount of times per year before it's like alarming, and now we need to look into what your life is like.
Or they can say, I'm starting to homeschool my child, and then we have to go through that whole process. Once again, I was a conservatorship worker. You
Hmm.
have investigations, family-based safety services, conservatorship, and adoption prep. That's like the line, okay?
Hmm.
But investigations, that's first line, okay? They're at the front line.
Right.
I couldn't do investigations because them the ones that be trying to kidnap caseworkers and stuff. Them the ones
What?
that, yeah, it's in my home, like in Houston. It was a caseworker that got tied up and beat up by the mother and her two boyfriends in the house, and yeah, it's wild stuff that happens. So, but the main focus of
Wow.
what you're saying right there is both. So you got some investigators that are just spiteful people. You got
Mm,
some time where that person had a bad day, and they like, hey, everybody around me gonna have a bad day. And it's but it is also the just imagine, okay, once again, you're a mature person though. A lot of these people are not mature as well. Some of these people are a little bit younger, or some
mhm.
of these people just have a strong distaste for the system. But anyway, no matter how you look at it, Like if I'm knocking on your door, hey, so and so, a somebody made a call and I must talk to your children, Shan.
Mhm.
And what will be your first reaction?
I'm gonna talk to you through my Ring camera. My kids are fine. No, you don't need to come in. I'm not home.
Okay. Okay. And my thing is for my work, I'm like, all right, especially what I'm doing. And depending on the level, I said, well, really need to. I understand that. Is it a better time for me to come back?
Yeah, Sunday at 9 o'clock. I'm gonna reach for like
You're
the
gonna make
impossible.
you're gonna make things difficult. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Do you see how things going? All right. So now I'm gonna have to because I'm a document. You're just showing how things can be difficult, how this can
Yeah.
happen. So now I'm gonna document the information because I'm not gonna keep back and forth. I'm not bringing the police with me. Not on my first one. Now, if I go back, document, talk to my folks, talk to my supervisor, see what's again. If your kids are in school or in the daycare, that's when I'm gonna try to locate where they're at next. Okay. So now I'm like you just make yourself a little bit deeper for yourself. So now if I go and talk to the daycare school, or if they say, oh, they didn't bring it to school, the daycare worker will like, yeah, sometimes they do come in, their hair a little crazy, this has happened. Or you may get into it, you came in with an attitude one time or something like that. I'm basing all this information off other people now because I don't have the opportunity to talk to you. So now when we get that chance, I may go, hey, this investigation still going on. Hey, I really need to come in. Now I haven't went to court. I have a court order now. I have a court order. I gotta come in. I gotta see the kids. I gotta see the living arrangements for the children. Miss Chantal, what will be your response?
Well, come in then.
Okay, all right. And
but
see, somebody asked over here on TikTok, Low asked, who the hell called? I cannot disclose that information, man.
okay, that's my next question because sometimes it's a teacher that calls, sometimes it's a neighbor that calls, and my thing is like, let's say that teacher had mentioned something to the parent before they even called CPS.
Yeah.
For me, if I was abusing my kids or neglecting my kids, I will automatically be like, oh, it was that snitch teacher. Watch me see them tomorrow. Who protects?
Hey, and that teacher can call back right back to us, and now you're retaliating against somebody else for trying to go. Hey, keep playing dumb if you like. My thing is, I'm just here to do my job now.
Okay.
And the thing is, everything you do will be written down and documented. So, and it will be passed along to every person, and the judge will read all these actions.
And this is why companies like Ring did the privacy thing where they now can give everything on that camera or everything that's heard to the police. They don't
Right.
have to go through you no more
My,
because
let
it's
me tell
just
you, I
too
know
much going on.
In Texas, in last year, 2011, it was not 11, 2021, they gave permission for parents to record the conversation and utilize them in court. I would love for any of my parents to record me. I ain't you go hurt yourself I'm just keeping it a book because it's that's a sad thing about it. It's a lot of folks that think they know.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. You can always find Drake on Everything Culture on your favorite podcast app, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, and on Good Pods. If you guys like what you're hearing about the things that are going on in this episode, don't forget that Drake has his own podcast. I have my own podcast. The way that we learn about the feedback from what we talk about is through reviews, ratings, DMing us. We are on TikTok, IG, Twitter, Stereo app. And if you are a podcaster and you have something to say or something to share, Drake is always looking for people to come on and talk about their own personal culture. And if you have something related to, how your upbringing was in this topic tonight, don't be afraid to check out Everything Culture, or the Cozy Womb Podcast. We are back at it, and I hope you guys are enjoying the show. We are almost finished, but we appreciate you for watching and listening.
Folks that think they know the law, but don't know a damn thing about it. And civil law is completely different than criminal law. And
does like these different state laws interfere with what CPS can do for that
absolutely, it's not interference. That's what these laws are for.
Okay.
Because now, like I'm telling you, and that's why you got to be up on the law. You got to be up on. It's harder to remove now, and I don't mind that. But the thing is, don't come when these kids are like. I'm sorry, when these kids are being abused, these kids are being neglected. Y'all voted on this.
And when you don't vote, you vote. Okay.
Straight like that.
October 11th is the absolute last day for you to register to vote, by the way. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah. Hey, let them know. I'm telling you, vote on the local level. It really, you better know who your judges are, who the people who make the decisions for child support, your custody. Because that's the next thing. Because CPS could say one thing and the judge could say something completely different. And it's once again, this is a different situation. So let's say I go out, I see you, I'm at you, I finally able to see the kids, the kids are fine, no issues, no problems. I said, thank you, Ms. Chantal. I would like to see, this is the allegation. I'm gonna tell you, this is the allegations said, this is blah, 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 blah. And your actions are gonna matter. If you're attentive and you're listening but if you seem like attitude, mad, I'm like, now strikes are going against you now. I'm like, she seemed angry. She yelled at one of the kids
the whole time I was over there. She was drinking Hennessy through the bottle.
Hey, it's like that though. It's like that. It's like if you let me, they had 5 dogs. I saw feces around. If the place is dirty and like I'm talking about filthy and unstable, all these things are going to be documented. And that's why I have to put together an investigative report. And an investigative report is the affidavit if we go to court. Because the thing is, let's say you won't let us in, you have a bad you cuss us out, you won't allow me to speak to the kids alone, you with the door open, or I see something that's disturbing that it may, or the children have a bruise on them. Really, if you came from you not like, something's ain't up, something ain't right, I think I need to affidavit the court for. And also if I try to give you services and things of that nature and you like F these services, I ain't doing nothing, y'all can get out my house, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Nope. Hey, that's not okay. I'm listening. I go to court, judge say, all right, we say, I go to my supervisor go to the program director. The caseworker is the lowest person on the totem pole. That's the other thing. It's levels to get approval. It's not just the caseworker make the final decision. The caseworker is the one gathering information, sharing it. But that final decision, now it go once again to the supervisor go to the program director, and they make their report, and all is approved, go back down to the caseworker. The caseworker will go to court, have the county attorney, whatever, the CPS attorney, and they will petition the court to have a civil lawsuit to start the state of Texas or whatever state you're in versus Chantal. And that's how and if that's approved, I come back, the investigator come back out with that court order. We have to remove the children. Now that's a very emotional experience. Oh, we got Stretch here. She could give me some advice.
Hey, Stretch.
And Stretch is an investigative caseworker, if I'm not mistaken, or a supervisor. But once that removal is effect, how you gonna act? And this is genuine. I know. How would you act if your kids getting removed?
I feel like if I was someone who was neglecting my children and had the attitude that I didn't want to be a mother, it would be like.
No, I'm talking about you. Something happened.
Me
I'm talking about you. Yes, I'm talking about you.
I be heated because I know, like, what I do as a mother, how my children live, and for someone to make an accusation because at this point in time there's no real proof and remove my kids, because I know what it's like to be around my mom all the time And when my mom had a stroke, she was rushed to the hospital, and we were with her. We sat in that hospital lobby as children with no adult. And because we were there for so long with no adult, me and my youngest brother, they called a caseworker to come get us because they couldn't contact any family, and we were put in foster care, which we would have an episode about. But I know what it's like to feel like, oh, if Drake showed up, oh, we going home with Drake. Drake is gonna take us home tonight until our mom comes out. But the reality is, you're in a car with a stranger going to another strange place where they have other children that you don't know, and you overhear people talking about you like you're not even in the room, and you have no idea as a kid what's going on. So like you said, it is a process for everybody.
Yeah. And me knowing you, I can already tell how a case can, and I be telling you all the time how you sometimes, I know you being you go, I'm going, and I be telling you because I've seen stuff happen. I'm like, hey, Shan, I know you don't be saying all that crazy stuff, man. Relax. And you
Right.
but I'm telling you, I've seen stuff but when it looks completely different when it's on paper. You hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
When it's on paper, did you say this isn't, somebody got you recorded, somebody reported you and all that, and you can say your immediate intention, but you said it though.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do it again.
You say, and then you go and do something like that right there. That's then you can but and I'm telling you, I've had parents and people say that, and what exactly I had this one parent, my most recent case, calling my kid. I call my kids the F word, and I call them the B word, and I wouldn't be saying the word. And these kids are none of her kids older than the age of 5, 6, and that's how she talking to them. And I'm like, ma'am, that's not normal.
Right.
That's normal. She said that's normal to her though. A lot of people feel like, even with that whole game, where that whole thing on TikTok where they were locking their kids in the bathroom and how that ghost, that I'm telling y'all, like y'all, I that is what is that? That's emotional abuse, no doubt. That it's hands down, it is. No matter if you playing, that's emotional abuse, and you see it all, and we have proof. You can't argue that. It just take one per you and just listen. You just need another one or two strikes. That's going to be easy, and it's a wrap. That's an investigation started. You need at least to have some type of parental classes to understand why that's not normal. But you see how many people were doing it though.
Yeah.
And the internet has completely changed the game for child abuse. Let me tell you that. But before I go, but what you're saying right there, if your kid, I'm telling you, to put yourself in the shoes of a parent that, and even Stretch saying is terrible, but I'm telling you, as caseworkers, we see stuff like that. Y'all just don't know. But the thing is, seeing a parent, because even with you, I've seen parents that care about their kids and know, that have a relationship it's no book to be a good parent. It's no how to be a substantial parent. So let's get that out the way.
Yeah.
But when you see somebody like that and their kids being removed, emotions will come out. Actions will come out. You can't expect somebody to be calm and just all fine when you see your kids screaming and yelling, mama, 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 I mean, it's a very traumatizing experience just because of the removal.
Let me tell you something. The first time I watched Losing Isaiah.
Oh, that y'all talking about
what?
Yeah. Yeah, y'all talking about I'm talking about real life. I'm talking about the screams and the holler, like it's like they're getting unalive,
Yeah.
And you're like, I know, once again, I've never had to remove from a parent. I've removed from foster parents. I removed from family members. But and because once again, the case has already been open. But I've been in the CPS offices where I have other units are in investigations and things, and I've seen them kids come in and just be bawling, crying, and all these strangers, but all these caseworkers come around and try to uplift them and try to give them something nice, and all ages. So, and something that bothers me, and I put this up for later on our show as well, therapy. When
Mm,
a child is brought into CPS custody, especially over a certain age, I'm like automatically they're in therapy, period. Because of that removal alone.
yeah.
It's not normal to be removed from your parents or your family like that. Stability, stability is the same thing as consistency for me. And that's why it's one of our pillars. I it, they need to have that constant warmth of home, or where I know where to go when I need something.
Because we as adults see it on Twitter. We see it on a lot of podcast clips where there's men and women latching on to adult people for dear life that they work with, that they friends with, or that romantically they were with, and feel like if they break up, like because they haven't handled an attachment like that or experience like that, they don't know how to handle it, and they just obsess over this person that's probably abusing them like they were
Well,
used to.
because understanding when you have abuse and neglect creates trauma.
Yeah.
When you have trauma, you're gonna have behaviors and you're gonna have um reactions to that. You're gonna have what's the word? I can't even think of the word right now for it. But basically behavior. Habit forming. There's gonna be a
Mm.
lot of habits. And people need to heal. That's why one of the questions on the show is like, where do you need to heal?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. I'm just like, man, when I build a relationship with someone, I build a relationship with them. I'm loyal to that. I'm loyal to a fault. You know, but I'm absolutely can acknowledge, man. I know what I've been through in life. I
Mm-hmm.
know the hurt. I know the neglect I've seen. I know, like, even I had to have this conversation with my wife about I don't like having an empty refrigerator. I've lived in a house where I had no food in the refrigerator. I'm talking about nothing but baking soda and maybe some mayonnaise, some Miracle
Mm.
Whip. And so me for stability, me for comfort is a full refrigerator, a full cabinet of food. So I
Mm-hmm.
know, like, hey, I'm good. We're good. We got that. I can acknowledge that. A
Yeah.
lot of people have experiences with family in different ways, but when a child comes into custody, once again, being taken from their parents, no matter how long, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to cause some issues.
Mm.
Um, and it's not like to the point that caseworkers don't know that. It's not like the system don't know that, the judge don't know that. It's just what they're experiencing could lead to something. We don't want something worse to happen. Because
Okay.
we've seen that side that I've had kids that I'm like, if we were not involved, these kids would not be here today.
Right. And I think that's the gamble that is taken, because I think as a CPS worker, you're constantly like on the line of, I want to do my job, I want to do it correctly. I also want to protect these children, and I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing the important purpose of this right now.
Mhm.
And you can't really explain to a child that's young that I'm doing this for, like, the greater good, or like the best for you,
Mhm.
because they don't understand that. They're just like, oh, you taking me away from what I know, you're taking me away from my
Yeah,
home.
my
I'm
stability.
yeah, I'm never coming back, even though
Can
this
I bring
person
my
just,
PlayStation with me? What about
yeah,
my? Sometimes I didn't even talk about their parents. It's just what about my like even if they have their parents like abusing them.
right, that's what
Okay,
I'm
am
saying.
I going
Even
to live
if
with
it,
my? Am I going
yeah,
with my brother? Am I going with my sister? Am I going to be around grandma? Can I see my uncle Larry?
yeah,
All those type of things. They've been removed from home.
yeah,
you know and they sometimes they place in the home, they're like, what is this? I don't have my own room anymore.
yeah,
Or this kid over here is weird, looking at me crazy, and I don't know this guy.
hmm,
Like, it's a whole different it's just they're displaced at time.
yeah. Um, my question for you next is: do you think CPS has loopholes that can be prevented, and if so, what are three loopholes that you feel could be prevented?
What do you mean by loophole?
Loopholes like, yes, this is this step, this is this rule, but while we're doing this rule to the next thing that we're going to do, this can happen. And there's no structure that gives me the allowance to prevent this thing in between this next step from happening. Like, what are some loopholes that CPS have where you probably feel like, damn, if we could have got there in time, or if this was in place, we could have prevented this from happening, or that.
Well, so so I'm gonna take it like this. Is there any shortcuts, or is there any way, is there any cracks in the system that could be
Yes.
filled to resolve abuse neglect happening? Saying, once again, you're talking a lot before kids. Once again, I work while kids were in custody. That's really what my
Okay.
expertise in. But I would share um everything you just said, like everything you said. Like, a parent said, hey, I'm gonna talk to you through my Ring camera, I'm not gonna open the door. It's hard because I'm big on, I'm both. I
Mm-hmm.
want the parent. I'm a fair player. Like, if I'm playing a sport, I'm gonna play fair. I don't need to cheat because I have
Yeah.
enough, but I know people will cheat. But when you like, but the thing is, when you find cheat, I believe they should be punished for that. Um, and it's kind of like with this too. If you see a parent, oh, I know it's cheesy, but I'm one of those guys that I know when you do the right thing and tell the truth, my
Mm-hmm.
conscience and God, my Lord and Savior, Jesus, that's what's going to get us the resolution,
Mm-hmm.
because it's messed up things on both sides. It's good and evil. It's good caseworkers, attorneys, and judges.
Like good cop, bad cop.
But and it's bad and good. It's bad judges, bad attorneys, and bad caseworkers. Not even good
Yeah.
cop, bad cop. It's like, because these folks that's here to do the wrong things, here for the wrong reason, should be doing it because it's really harming children at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some parents, like, if you got involved in the system, you shouldn't. Your kid, it should be a quick closed case. Hey, let's understand it. Blah blah blah. You know, Somebody
Yeah.
still should go out, but they shouldn't. In my opinion, should be a removal unless you did something, and I would be upset at you. Okay,
Right.
but
Eh,
I've seen some people that, like, once again, like I said earlier, I've seen some people that legit. Oh, she ain't got a bra on. She shouldn't have her kids. Like, you think
And
it's a game?
right. And I've seen, well, we've all seen clips of Elanya show where that mom blatantly lied on their dad,
Yeah, yeah,
abusing them for years and
yes,
ruining
yes. I've seen.
three
When I tell
grown
you,
women's relationship.
and when I see stuff like that, it burns me up because it happens a lot. I was, because right before you said that, that's what I was thinking of, a case where a mother. I've seen a lot of mothers call CPS, try to get their dads or the man out their life, or just try to hurt them, and it backfires
Mm-hmm.
in their face.
Yeah.
But I have, I don't know if the judge will talk about it, and soon he may do with a blur on his face, but he says the way the court treats black men is disgusting.
Yep.
And this coming from a white judge, white male, and he's like, he says not only from white judges, it's from black female judges too. And I
Mm-hmm.
like, damn,
Yeah.
that's deep. You know what I mean? And so that loophole is, it's like, once again, like I say, it's on the other end where it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen, like, a lot of mothers, once again, one of the loopholes is fleeing, because this is a state by state thing. So you can put up a report like, hey, these kids have been looked for or trying to be found. Um, but sometimes somebody may take their kids from Georgia and come to Texas and lay low. And
Yeah.
not until something happened, CPS got to be called. Usually it's going to happen again. That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when that report hit, it's going to be like, oh, everything's going fine now, but we still got this report from back in the day that you didn't address. And we've
And
been
it's
you fled with your children.
and
Like, that's one of the rules. It's like the case closed because this person fled.
right. And it's hard when someone leaves a state or a town or whatever and then changes a child's name and goes somewhere else.
Oh, it's so many things. Oh, they just don't put the kids in school. Like, I've seen some wild stuff, man. That I'm gonna share a quick story with y'all. This is, a future Casa story.
Mm.
Hey TikTok, don't block me. Um,
Disclaimer, please.
this is what y'all get for coming to lives. When you join the lives, you get to have the good. Just make sure I ain't got nothing in my nose. Cool. Yeah, we good. All right. So I remember being in court, and once again, I tell people all the time: sit back in the back of the court. Just sit in court. You pay for it anyway. It's free.
Man,
Pay taxes. So just sit in the back of the court one day when you
there's a
have
lot
time,
going on.
and you just can listen to all these divorce cases. It's like when you see like Judge Lynn Tollier and all of them divorce court. You can really go back there and sit in a real court and just listen. You can do that in your hometown. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as caseworkers, you're there to hear your other cases or whatever the case may be. And this one, I was a CASA. Okay, I was a CASA supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't back hearing my cases. Now, they got to this point where we were taking a lot of cases. We had a lot of volunteers. We needed a lot of cases, period. Well, that's another conversation when we get into the nonprofit sector. But I was there, the judge may call on you or you'll hear a case and, we may get appointed and you're like, oh, who will get that case? So I'm in there and I'm hearing this one case in a side court. And I'm like, ooh, wait. I'm like, this is some, ooh, this lady crazy as hell. Basically, she from it was Arkansas.
Yeah.
The little boy, her son, she took her three daughters. Well, she took her family. She had a daughter which was 18, a daughter that was 16,
Mm-hmm.
a son that was like 10, and a set of twins that were like 7 or 8. Okay, I'm just tossing the numbers out right here. So how many kids are that? 6 kids, I think.
A
No,
lot.
5 kids. 5 kids, I think. So yeah, 5 kids. And the reason why the case was open in Harris County is because her husband, I think they were married. Her husband, which was also a pastor, SXAB her 16-year-old. Okay. And when the mother found out, she got mad at the 16-year-old and put her out the house. And the 18-year-old, when we was able to investigate, I think she was court. She was like, the reason why I got into it, he tried it with me and I stopped him and he went to my younger sister. Okay. Now this was a family too. And the mother, the pretty woman, church going, once again, people say they're Christian, they don't know what it is. But she's like, they came down. And this, it happened. That's what it happened in Arkansas. It happened in Arkansas. The case opener happened in Arkansas. And when they came to Houston, she didn't leave the man. When they were trying to remove the kids in Arkansas, she fled to Houston. And the reason why she said it came to Houston, because he was following him for church, because he's a pastor and was following his church to Houston. I mean, this is stuff I like. Once again, I'm back in the court. I'm like, y'all hear this? This crazy as hell. What in the world is going on? And she up there arguing with the judge, standing to the attorneys like she's absolutely in the right too. They start asking her, so you have another child that's in Arkansas right now.
Right.
Like the 10-year-old had he has a heart issue. And she said, you left your 10-year-old? Is this correct? And the judge is like, the attorneys are saying this, the prosecutors are saying this. So is this correct that you left your 10-year-old child, in the hospital by himself? No, Your Honor, I did not leave him by himself. And she's yelling Bible verses and things at night. Like, God is with him and the doctors are with him. The Holy Ghost is with my child. He is not by himself. And she's saying this, and I'm just like, this woman crazy. So, of course, all her children were removed, and unfortunately, they all could not be placed together. The 18-year-old, she came to care. She could have came to care. She wanted to stay. She didn't want to stay. I tried to, and I told her, I met with her one time. I'm like, you dumb as hell, because you get your life. Just say you can go and you can dip a toe. Be there for 3-4 months, take these little classes and all that. I'm done. You locked in for life, baby. But they don't want to hear that. But then the 16-year-old sweet girl, man, real good girl. Like once again, the whole family gorgeous, but it just messed up, just messed up. And she was placed, by herself in a different placement. And then the younger kids, finally the 10-year-old was brought to Texas, and then the other kids were, I think the younger one and all, they were placed together. So basically, the three together, and the oldest one by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout that case, that mother was still sneaking and giving the husband. It was that case open for 3 years, by the way, 3 to 4 years. I end up, and the reason go all the way back, all that crazy stuff happening. I remember like, man, whoever getting this case got a MFing case for their ass. Oh my goodness. I feel sorry for whatever my coworkers that had that case. That's wild. Went back to court the next, went back in the office the next day. Hey, Mr. Jake. Oh, I got the hiccup. I know you lying. I'm like, no, man, well, no, but you can't say no. The volunteer I had on it, like she was legit, but man, she ended up quitting. But man, it was just so much. That's why I say that's why I get no, because I got to sign that case. And I'm like, man. And the thing is, the mother, she had a big old derriere, and she used to try to flirt. Man, I'm like, hey, y'all need to get this case to someone else. I ain't got time to do it. I'm professional. I'm professional, but I don't need that type of stress because my main thing.
Oh my god!
Because when I have to go out and do a home visit, because she will work, because a lot of parents will. That's the other thing. A lot of parents will work their services, but really don't make any real, like for instance, you can work all your services, but if you still seeing the guy, have you made any progress?
No.
The family business was bomb. She'll bring all these good things to the kids. She'll pray for them. It from the outside looking in, outside of paper,
It looks
like
like
she was an excellent mother. She was a great mother. And if she had social media and all that, she would be like I'm telling you, that would have been on my neck. Return them babies back home. She didn't do nothing. And me have to cooperate with HIPAA and confidentiality. I can't tell you this woman allowing this man to SX her children and get mad at her children and still be with this man.
And then kick her kids out.
Yeah, I can't say all that. And she left she medical neglected one of her children by leaving him in the hospital while he's having heart transplant and by himself for months, not just a month. Why she went and chased this dangling. I can't say that. Only thing y'all gonna listen to is her side. And that's why y'all sometimes people be tagging me in some videos like, Drake, what you think about this? What's going? Why you you need to make? Yeah, I don't want to make a video about that because I'm gonna come from a level of balance. I'm not gonna choose a side
because sometimes there is no legit side. There's wrong on both sides.
And that's the point. And that's my thing. Like, it's one girl, like in the journey, I think it was her name, still follow the woman. It was some things I was reading that was said. I was like, y'all missing something here. Why y'all not paying attention to this part right here? Y'all out here marching. That's why I said I support you. Hopefully everything's right for that baby, for that child. But I gotta trust partially. And the system may have done something wrong, but they're gonna leave. How's that child doing? And it's a lot to go into that too. But case in point, with that mother and with that behavior, she had a lot of loopholes. She had a lot of things that she was trying to fix for her. But those kids, and she almost got her kids back. I think she got her kids back. When I got off the case, she got her kids back for a short period of time. Then I always do pop-up visits, caseworkers. I used to be the king of a pop-up visit. Like Shan, if you for instance, you told me, come by Sunday at 9 a.m. It's 9 p.m. I'm like, okay. I'll be there Friday at 2. And I'm like, and I'm gonna be waiting. I used to do stakeouts. I used to pull up in a different, I'll take my wife car to work or something like that. And I'll pull around the corner. I'll just be out there with that tent just looking. See who coming in and out of that house. I'll call. Like, hey, Miss So-and-so, I'm just trying to see if they home. Oh, nobody's home. This and that. Hey, Stretch, you already know them. Sit out. Hey, we get some snacks, a little bit of coffee, and just be
That's
chilling.
crazy. That's crazy.
And we just see if she go lie. And we come, man. I'm telling you, I be trying to tell people my CPS stories. I ain't cracked nothing. I got y'all be worried about Jesse. Jesse ain't that is one of my small stories. I got times where I've had kids that almost 5-year-olds almost drove through a house before where I'm ooh, don't get me started. But man, yeah, pop up on a weekend when they don't think you work. Because I was one of those cases, because that's the other thing. You can have a caseworker that just half-ass a job. That's the other thing, Shan.
Yeah.
You can have that's the biggest loop. Having people who don't care about their job. Just
Like
here for the check.
that case with the Hispanic
Latin
boy.
boy. I know what you talking. I haven't watched it on Netflix, but
The way
everybody
they
telling
hot
me to watch
potato,
it.
the way they hot potato them files.
Because that's how that is real though. You know how many transfer cases I got? You know how many you know how many times I was like the 5th caseworker to work a case? And then I have to everybody, but they look and go, I gotta toot my horn sometime. I am who I am. I am the shit. Okay. It's stressful. All the grades. But when I tell you, I've had folks that, and that's the other thing, they so burnt out on everybody else, but I'll respect, communication, and consistency. When I just show these people who I know you had a messed up caseworker. I know you had this. I had some people, they tired of talking to somebody new. I was like, I'm tired of y'all talking to somebody you new to. Let me close this out for y'all. Y'all work with me, we work. I work for y'all. This is my role. This is what I'm here to do. When I stepped into, and I didn't know all this at the beginning. I was new. This is my first job out of college. Can you imagine this being your first job?
Sign me up for therapy. You was going to therapy?
Yes. I started going to therapy because of my job. Not everything I went through in my childhood, no, for my job. I was so stressed out. I remember being in my office, like this started happening. I just like, I don't know what was going on. Like I just lock up. I couldn't move my neck. I'd be like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? I can't move. Like I could move my body, but I couldn't move my neck. I like this shit ain't normal. It's not. Because it like working on the weekend, having these kids cry and seeing all this and seeing red case files and just hearing all these people lying and it's just like, hey man, you want a box? Like I'm tired. Then they gave me like teenagers and my teenagers to run away, and they only wanted to talk to me, and it just was a lot. Then I had to deal with stuff in my own household and family, and I'm trying to pay bills, and it was a lot. But the thing is, I cared. And that's what I'm talking about. Even now, my CPS case stories that my supervisor, he was like, it's a number. Treat it like a number game.
And that sounds horrible when you said like that,
but that's how you survive. That's how a lot of them survive, though. They disassociate themselves with the family. And that's why you have some caseworkers. They just look at you cold and like, hey, this is what I got to do. What's next? Oh, that's crazy. And that's how kids, that's how a lot of problems happen, in my opinion. But it's like, it's a double-edged sword. It's like you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. So it's that's why I said these conversations I'm looking forward to having on the show is like, it's deep. Because like I said, I left. I was part of, I was there for not even 2 years, and I left because it's like, man, y'all ain't about to kill me. Yeah, and that's what it's like. Y'all, my family, even now, even I volunteer, they like, get off that case. My family used to tell me, you can't work here no more. You can't do that. Because I cared too much, I taught these kids, I taught these families, and I'll try, and it's hurtful that even with families you like and you want them to be successful. I wanted all my families to be successful, that they were able to. And when they don't, it's like, why? It's hard. And you see how when you have parents that are trying and the system is against them. And as Stretch even said, the caseworker could want the kids to go back to you, but the judge say no.
Yeah.
Or you do something. Another quick story. I had a mother that her main thing was, so she just wouldn't stop smoking weed. Couldn't, like, that's her main thing. And It was something else happened that was small, but when you throw in marijuana, this is illegal in Texas, that was an issue. And she went through and she always had an attitude. She had and that's the other thing, she would mess with different dudes, fellas, and she had the dirtiest kuchacha. Let me tell you that, because trust me, I had to go through her medications and stuff. I'm like, fellas, y'all may want to leave this alone, man. Her chata is not together, okay? Like, I was like, God, wait.
Oh my God.
Hey, you got to be in everybody's business. That's the thing. You got to be in everybody's business. Like,
Oh
if
my
you
God.
if you a messy CPS, the place, because you gonna get in everybody's business. I'm telling you. And I don't like to be in people's business, but you gonna know everything about everything. I'm gonna know who your baby, all your relationship drama, who auntie, who uncles, granddaddy, brother, and I'm like, oh, that's what I be trying to tell my black people. It's not. We involved into it. A lot of families got a lot of crazy stuff going on, but when I tell you, this woman, her main thing when my girls coming home, I know her girls was with her mama. I knew for a fact her mama was allowing her to go visit her daughters whenever she wanted to. You know what it is, Stretch. So I'm like, I knew it. But the thing is, I couldn't prove it, and I'm trying to be cool with it. But I'm like, if I catch y'all though, that's y'all ass. All right.
Yeah.
That's the thing. She had two little girls. Two little girls, around like a few years apart from one another. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, every time she see me, she got a little attitude, a little smoking the cigarette. I'm like, man, okay, I'm asking these certain questions, but she wasn't the brightest bulb in the chandelier either.
Yeah.
We getting ready to go to court. And we talk to, and everybody come together. The attorneys, the mother's attorney, the alleged father's attorney, the children's attorney, CPS attorney. We're like, okay, we're going to ask the judge to start transitioning the children back with the mother. Mm. Okay, we good. We got all my paperwork together. I know she done finished her substance abuse counseling. She's going to 12A. She's doing all the things she's supposed to be doing, okay? Mm-hmm. But the problem was, let me tell you, judge, and I'm gonna drop this judge name. Yeah, you heard the story, Lo. You heard the story. I was trying to get this judge on the show, but she didn't hit me back on LinkedIn. I wish I had a personal number. But Judge Mecca Walker, black woman. Every majority of people in power here are black. Okay, because we can't blame this on any ethnicity. Mm-hmm. The judge asked her all this, but judge asked her the first question. So, ma'am, I see you've been working your service, doing what you need to do. What's your sobriety date? It says, what is sobriety?
No, I'm trying to save you.
When I tell you, I was like, oh my, the judge looked at all of us. Judge looked at us like, it was so embarrassing. So embarrassing. I was in the caseworker at the time. I was with Casa. She did not only know, she didn't know the word sobriety. After she had completed all these, she got the certification classes, did them all. But some of these classes be letting them slide. That's the other thing. Loophole. You go to some of these classes that people that really don't go, like they train these parents. They don't care. They just sign their name off on stuff. You just show up. You know what I mean? They don't hold them accountable. And I had to go outside. And the judge say she's not ready to get the kids back. And she was all upset. I'm like, you can't get mad at nobody but your damn self. I said, she was like, what is sobriety? What is sobriety? And she, a lot of these folks they're scared of judges, they're like, and she was like, I said, when was the last time you did drugs? And she said, oh, November 2000 and that's your sobriety date. She's like, how she didn't ask me that? Because you should know what the words sobriety. Because that's the thing. Some people are just stupid. That's the other thing. Some people just, and I'm not calling them they don't get grasp on the information for long periods of time. Okay, they just, they don't attain. We all knew that. But should people that are not the wisest or don't hold on to information have kids then?
No, because
Well,
it's not.
yes, because they have rights. Now that's all. Now see,
My answer is no.
she's cognitive delayed. Thank you, Stretch. That's exactly what she is. And
Why?
that's the thing, because a lot of people think people that you. Then we get into elitism, because some people may think you shouldn't, and we can't stop that whole process. But people really believe that though. And trust me, have I thought about it? Yes.
Mm. Okay, so before we get any deeper, because
I know this is a lot.
ooh, the mess. Give me the steps that were taken once a person believes a child is in danger and they call. So I'm a teacher. I have a student that used to be outgoing, raise their hand, talk in front of the class. Now they want to sit in the back of the class, and they've been wearing this stank hoodie for the past 3 weeks. They don't make eye contact, and one day they went to turn in their paper or grab tissue, and I saw burns on their wrist and going up their arm, and I'm concerned. I mentioned it to the principal, and they're just like, just keep your eye on them. And I'm just like, no, something else needs to be done, and I call. So what's the next step?
Okay, you make the phone call. When you make that phone call, this information you try to share as much as possible. The age of the child, the name of the child, the age of the child, what allegedly are their behaviors or bruises that you have recognized. Make sure to have the time and dates. Time and dates are so important. How long this has been going on. All right. Any descriptive information, like we said, that you did a good job saying that hoodie. What's the color of the hoodie? Because if the caseworker come out and they're wearing that same hoodie, that's going to show, okay, the person who's making that anonymous call or whatever is not lying. All right, they have that. You got to start paying who's telling the most truth. All right, based on the facts. But and try to, like, do you know where this child lives? All that information. If you can give that, because I don't know as a teacher what you get allowed to give and all that, but I know as a neighbor, I'm giving everything. But when you get to that point where you give all the information to the investigator, the intake, I would say, like you say, continue to pay attention. You may have a conversation with that child, pull them to the side if you feel comfortable. But after you make that call, you've done what you were supposed to do. It's not even 5 steps. It's just like whatever you see, just line up. And once again, if you can ask who, and if they open up to you, they feel comfortable. Asking you, do you need a ride home? How can I help you? Be available. Put yourself in their shoes. What is this child? What did you, if you're going through something, what do you need from somebody to build trust? In my opinion, it's our pillars: respect, communication, and consistency. This is how you build a relationship with somebody. Hey, Shan, just seeing how not you, Siri. Don't you do it.
Okay. Tell me if this is true or false when I read these off. CPS looks for quality of sleeping conditions for a child if they go into a home. True or false?
True.
Okay. CPS checks the refrigerator for what food is available. True or false?
They check the refrigerator. True. Yes.
Is there any time where they're not allowed to go into a person's fridge or cabinets?
They all should always request. So if someone says no.
Okay. CPS checks for children's clothes or where their clothes are stored, if it's available, if it's clean.
True.
Okay. They check for the cleanliness of a home. So does what you smell as a sane adult when you step into a home and you be like, oh, I know that's mold I smell, but you can't.
Don't get me started on the smells. Let me tell you something.
You can't see it,
man. I've had these were not my cases, y'all. But I've had a couple cases where it was like some bad smells. But I had a case that it was an FSS case. It was a removal. we opened the door. Well, the mother opened the door, flies through from inside the house out at us.
No.
I'm telling, it was one of those, and I'll try to be, I don't try to be the most respectful person in nobody's situation. I had to hit a, oh my God. Oh my God. And it wasn't like being funny. I was like, I could call her right now at this time of night. Just like, you remember that case? Yes, I remember that. Oh my, come tell it just overwhelming. Just like 1,000 punches of stank coming at you in all different directions. And it's like, it was no dodging it. It's like, and once again, now this is a flaw. Once again, shout out to my home girl. But she was supposed to go in and take pictures and all that. And she was like, I was like, hey, I'm her support to make sure nothing went down crazy. I was the muscle. And I was like, hey, you're supposed to go in and take pictures and all that. She's like, I ain't going in there. I was just like, you can't make me. I don't care. They can let me go today. I'm not going in there. I like, she's like, you going in there? I like, nah, I'm not going in there. I said, it's like my case. I ain't going. I was like, cause it was like one of the things. It was the kid was like 15. Hey, it was something was happening in the household. It wasn't my case once again.
Yeah.
Like the mother wasn't cleaning up. It was an old house. It had like boarded windows upstairs. It was just a lot. It was like squalor really happening in the house, and the 15-year-old was urinating in the bed, and it wasn't me cleaning up. So it was just a extremely
15.
bad odor. And once again, if you have a child that old doing that, what does that mean? That child may have been touched on.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's had to take a break. Welcome. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. This is a collab with Everythang Culture and Cozy Womb Podcast. If you are interested on finding more episodes for Cozy Womb Podcast or Everythang Culture, please check out your favorite podcast app, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Red Circle, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Good Pods. Check us out. Please leave a review. Don't be a stranger. I hope you guys are enjoying the episode. We are here to inform people, not to shame people. And I think sharing an episode like this, sharing information like this, lets everyone be more informed. For me, it's about parenting honestly and having growth. For Drake, it's about communication, consistency, and respecting other people. So please let us know if this episode is helping you. If you would like more about this episode, don't forget to check out Everythang Culture on TikTok, Twitter, and his YouTube space. All right, now let's get back in it.
Wow. That's real. Like I'm telling, some type of abuse or in one way or another, it may have happened for a child that age. These are the things you should pay attention to.
All right.
True
or false?
And if I can go back to some of your true or falses, always when I did it, I would ask to take pictures. I always ask to go in the refrigerator. I'll ask to go to your dryer. I'm looking through anything you allow me to, and whatever you tell me no, I'm just documenting.
Okay. True or false? Does CPS look for a chemical or a drug exposure?
Yes. Can I add more to that? Yeah. Safety locks. It really depends on the age of the children as well. So, for instance, if you got teenagers, but if they can access your prescription medication, especially if they're hallucinogens and things of that nature, or alcohol, we look at that. If you have chemicals, anything that may be dangerous that for a child, like even under your sink, and sometimes we tell them put them up higher.
Shout out to Set It Off. Why are you taking your child to work with you, ma'am?
That's once again, I'm supposed to be doing a review on TikTok about Set It Off soon. Cause I ain't saying they all deserved it, but I'm like, I watched Set It Off for the first time like last year, and what? me watching Set It Off, I was like, like, which I like everything you just said. What you bring that? I was so mad through the whole movie. That's all I was. I was like, it was nothing but it was nothing but a series of poor decisions over and over and over and over and
Yeah.
over again. And D, I don't know her real name, but the mama from Friday, she played an excellent CPS worker. She played a CPS worker to the T. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Hey, gotta do what I got." And she, cause you, I know, hey, I'm looking forward to get your questions. But you see how she started acting crazy, and what did she say? I'm gonna take my life. That is going to be documented. I was in there like a caseworker. I was like, you just continue making things worse for yourself, baby. Your son is not coming back home to you, and he shouldn't have. Cause look what you're doing.
I need that money.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Francis, you mind if I answer this question here in the chat?
Yes. What's the question?
Okay. From Queen Christy. Hi, Queen Christy.
Hey.
I have a 2-year-old and I have medications in my nightstand. I use two headbands are rigged to, I guess, keep it closed.
Not enough. They smart. Let me tell you.
Hey, as a caseworker, I may let that slide. Honestly, if I can, like, bro, I'm gonna test it. The library say, I would test it. If it's cool, it's cool. Because some of these kids know how to get past some of these locks too.
My
But at the
kids
same,
do.
same thing, some of these grown folks don't know how to get past some of them locks as well. Like you ever see the doorknob, the plastic go over the doorknob, and you have to squeeze it. I've
Let
seen
me
a
tell
lot
you
of grown
this.
folks be stuck in the house because
As a mom of two, I've never
exactly.
home proofed my house.
Mm.
I'd never had like the kid that's trying to open the door and go outside. I never had the kid that was under the sink. I never had the kid that was playing with the stove turners.
But for instance, if a caseworker came out for a whole different reason,
yeah,
and would do your home, they're going to look for those things. And you may say, "Oh, it never happened." I'm not asking you. Yeah, you're good, Christy, too. Like Stretch, thank you, Stretch, by the way. But Stretch said simply, your attempt to protect.
yeah.
That's the thing. We recognize the things. Once again, good caseworkers recognize those things. The attempt to, the process. The way you do it, it may be unique. You don't need Alexa or you need a certain type of high tech. Like, for instance, I had a family that CPS. Oh, this is so stupid. It was a grandparent. These black folks had money, but they had that country money. Like I'm from the country. I know when you have acres of land money,
Yeah.
and they had a lake, they had their own personal lake in the backyard. And CPS did not want the kids to be placed there because of the lake in the backyard. I'm like, you know how stupid that is? I had to drive like 2 hours out to the country to just go out and do an inspection on the home. And you could them little things that you just put like door, just acknowledge the door, open and close. That's all they needed. That home was beautiful, greatly put together. It's just that's the other thing with Lupa. People will find a reason not to put a kid somewhere. It's a lot of stuff, and I'll go in detail in the CPS story about that in the future. They had like the grandmother had like a DUI from like 30 years ago from driving a tractor drunk.
I mean, if I had a tractor, I'd be little.
And she in the country. It was like they were just messing with her, and it was 30 years ago. I'm like, man. But the caseworker was you cannot. I think it was 20 years ago. But either way, they got certain limitations in certain places. But all in all being said, if you have chemicals and where a child can reach it, you gotta be always protective when CPS involved. You just gotta do it. I removed kids because of, they had a bunch. Like for instance, how my studio set up right now, some of these cords. Nah, if I had a little kid right here, I wouldn't approve myself because when the kids can pull something down and it fall on them and things of that nature. Yeah. No, but if I knew it's certain things you can do to absolutely alleviate those dangers. It's just doing it.
Yeah. All right. I think this is a great time for a podcast spotlight. On Cozy Room, I like to do podcast spotlight where I share a show that's recommended, that's already a podcast out here in these streets that other people need to know about. So what is your Everythang Culture podcast spotlight? Who you sharing?
Man. I always share y'all. Power
I
Fam is
know.
always number one.
I
I share
know.
y'all all the time. I can go from loudmouth. I can go from Baylorisms. Um, I can go from she. Not only she gets it, but I'm thinking of Black Girl Soul. They always been a big support. I know I done toss out so many, but the one I really want people to check out more and listen to is One Mic History.
Mm-hmm.
Like, great dude, great podcast. It's like, if you like if you like Everythang Culture, I think you'll love his show as well. He goes in detail about certain things in Black history. I've covered some things that he's done. He's covered some things that I've done, because everything intersects with one another when we talk about Black history. Every time I listen to his um podcast, I learn something new. So shout out to One Mic History.
Love it. Love it. All right. So here is the grand point of the show. I want to talk about 15 quick things to look for um on a child that'll tell you CPS need to be called. Before I do that, I just want to lay out the four types of neglect. There's educational neglect, medical neglect, physical neglect, and emotional neglect. Is there another neglect that I'm not listing?
Um, like where I'm from, you can throw in abandonment.
Mm.
So abandonment is absolute, like, placing a child at a fire department, police department, some of that nature, and just disappearing, just leaving that child, or just not visiting that child within 3 months, just absolutely nothing, no contact. Even if
Mm.
they're in CPS custody, parents still should, if it's court order, they still have to visit their kids. It's not like, just you still got like, if you got if you're required to visit your kids once a week, you better visit your kids once a week. There's some people that want to visit their kids as much as possible, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot to go into that. Yeah, and there you go, straight, and it's 90 days would be abandoned. So this will go 3 months without seeing your kids. That's abandonment. All right.
Does that go for fathers?
Yeah.
Well, there we have it.
And that's used a lot. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, if
Yeah.
you don't see your kids for 3 months consecutively, yeah, that's abandonment.
Mm.
That's a right there. What's it called? Oh, let me go into termination, because we're talking majority about investigation, and when you get to termination, that's a whole different word. That's what I know. I'm at the end. I'm at the goal line when it comes down to this. And it was something else I was going to add to that, but I cannot remember. Cause we're talking about 90 days. Yeah. Continue.
What's the chances of someone who leaves a baby at a fire station and wants that baby back? What's the chance of them getting that baby back?
I've seen it happen.
You seen it happen?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What was the reasoning they
Ooh, I
done?
didn't like it. It's actually one of my CPS stories. Y'all got to go
What?
back.
Okay, don't tell it yet.
Yeah.
Don't tell it yet. But ooh,
Yeah,
okay, you gotta
yeah.
let me
It
know
it
what
was
the.
it wasn't a parent. It was actually the relative that did it. Ain't shit. I really don't like that relative. She didn't get it on my watch. She got it after I got off the case.
What?
Yeah, Ohio law, you got to work case plan after that. Yeah, and that's the thing. No matter what, when it comes in, if the parents step up, even with perfect example, you use fathers. Ooh, this is like one of my pet peeves as a caseworker, is when people do not file their paperwork timely. It's something called a discovery, not a discovery. What's something called a, help me out, Stretch. Oh, what is that paperwork called? Is it not a discovery? What is it called? Basically, you have to put in this paperwork to attempt to locate any alleged father. Okay, if we do not have DNA established, we have to have an attorney called an unknown father's attorney. And it just basically turned like, because I've had mothers. I think I talk about her. I don't know if I talked about Miss Wood. Can't say her name. I was trying to change her name.
The one who didn't know who her kid's dad was.
Yes, I talk about that when she had like, she gave me like 11 different names. I want to punch her in the chest. Yeah. Okay. You gonna say another motherfucking name? Shut up. Shut your ass up, because I'm telling you, every time we got to do another. You know how much time that takes? It's like you finally like, come on, chill out, man. But like, for instance, with her, if one of those men just pop up, we have to give him a whole family service plan. And the case start over. Like he has the right to work his services. Seriously. I'm like,
more shame for 2023.
But she could, coming like it'd be like when she said, I ain't gonna like what over, it was like one Gonzalez, and I was like, let me tell you that in Texas, and only thing you have to look for somebody is one Gonzalez. You know, it's like 1,000,001 Gonzalez's. I have 5 homeboys by the name of one Gonzalez. And the judge, and you know, some of these judges are assholes, and they're like, and they know it ain't, because she was a streetwalker, you know, that was her profession. And he like, do you know how tall he was? Not standing up. It was like, these are like legit conversations. Do you know what type of like where he may have lived? No, sir. They'll go, but they kind of have, they ask all this line of questions to try to identify this man. And let's say the one Gonzalez come up just out of nowhere with a black baby, mixed baby. And the thing is, none of them babies are Mexican now. Come on, them boys are Negroes. Like, them are, like, don't play. Stop. But, oh my gosh. But the thing is, once again, let's say the mother's work, like, if you working out your services, everything going well, or let's say things not going well, that's a loophole right there. But this is not investigated. This is a loophole they do. Oh, but
what loophole?
I had this happen before, that the mother thought she was going to get her kids back. I don't know why she thought she was going to get her kids back, by the way. But the goal was never to return back to her. But the thing is, she was steady messing up, blah, blah, blah. And we done tested like 2 guys, neither one of the guys are the dad. And she was like, well, I got a third one. No, man, if I could show you pictures, I think I still got pictures of that little girl in one of my hard drives somewhere. And, you know, for work-related issues. But the little girl, man, she finally named this one dude. And I said, let's look, because, you know, blah, blah, blah. That little girl looked just like, you knew he was the daddy the whole time. You knew he was a daddy. Judge, everybody was mad as hell. And when I showed the picture of the little girl and picture of the daddy that we pulled up, she was like, and everybody, what do you mean? Hazel, light skin, hazel eyes with red hair. What do you talk like? So it was like, but the thing is, once that happens and DNA come back, the case basically restarts. You get a whole nother year.
Okay, can y'all use any of the information from the previous ones in that new one?
What do you mean?
So, like, if y'all gathered all this information for the case, but it was the wrong father.
Against her, but not against him.
Oh, my God.
And she can work her services again and try to get back on her feet. Sometimes they do that, though. That's a loophole. That's the way to go about it. That's a loophole. But the thing is, that's if the judge, because the judge could have denied it. He was going to deny it, but I said, nah. And the reason why they denied it, he gets to do his time. It was crazy. I can't wait to tell this story. It's crazy. My old coworker, when I worked at CPS Pharmacy in college, it was her brother. When she showed up to court, I was like, girl, what's up? She's like, yeah, that's my brother. And I'm like, get out of here. And she was legit. She ended up taking her, like, we ended up placing the girl with her. Crazy. I'm telling you, I've seen some amazing, that's the thing, even though it was I've seen a lot of crazy cases, crazy situations turn out absolutely wonderful. And that case was, I was appointed to that case. Once again, when I went at CPS, you're appointed like at the beginning or like usually 3 months in. Where I was at is conservatorship. But me working at CASA Child Advocates, I could be appointed to a case like a month before trial. So the case, I'll just basically I'll clean everything up. Okay.
All right. So 15 things to look for on a child that tells you as an adult, the responsible adult around that child, that I need to call CPS. What are they?
See. Oh, let's just say 15 signs, because you say on a child. That goes like you limiting me right there. You limiting me right there. So come out because I'm gonna go through one is signs of abuse.
Well, if it's not on the child, what would be something, one of the 15 things that you would be like, oh,
okay, let's say clothing.
Okay.
So what they're wearing, I mentioned that earlier. What they're wearing, especially if it doesn't match the weather, that's a sign of abuse on numerous levels.
Okay.
Abuse and neglect. Okay, because if they're wearing shorts and short sleeves and no jacket in a winter, and it's like 30 degrees outside, that is a clear sign of neglect right there. All right. And that's why your parents probably told you to put your damn jacket on. I don't need it. I'm hot. Put your jacket on for them people come out to me. Okay. Same thing if kids are wearing I seen that wear and tear. Let's add that as another one.
Okay.
But also with teen pregnancy, if they suddenly out the blue get pregnant.
Okay.
Once again, fear of adults.
Okay.
If they open up to you, that's something we have. If they tell you something happened.
Okay.
See, Stretch, you say not living in home. You can state to state is different. In Texas, that is one. In Washington, it's not. Because, like, for instance, if the mother was panhandling and the kids were out there with them, that would be a reason. But not here in Washington, they would not remove that.
I know in New York, you'll see that a lot with a lot of parents out in the train station on the floor.
Yeah.
Panhandling.
Yeah. So in Texas, that'd be like, I used to try to give people resources. I'm like, man, if you stop asking each other, like, why your child ain't in school right now? Up here, it's not like that. So once again, it's very different in different states. So everything I'm saying here is really dependent. Make sure to go do your fact checking, check on your local laws, and things like you may be listening to this episode 10 years in the future.
Yeah.
Things probably have changed depending on how y'all vote. So let's be mindful of that to y'all. And y'all saying all the stuff I'm saying right here.
We at 9. We at number 9.
Oh, we're making progress. So once again, being aggressive, bullying, that's another one. Sleep, heavy sleeping in class. Not getting a lot of rest, bags under their eyes. Very protective of their siblings if they have siblings. And I'm talking about overly protective. Like, and I know a lot of us, I know when I ask them these questions on TikTok and they be saying these things, the whole time I be thinking, dang, a lot of people was abused and neglected as children. They just it's just normal. Yeah, sleeping in class. If you're not getting a lot of rest at home, that once again, these all can be signs. Doesn't mean it comes from abuse and neglect, but these are signs of abuse and neglect. Wetting themselves, at certain ages.
I see a lot of our children get either their hair cut in class by teachers without parents' permission, or their hair changed in class by teachers without parents' permission. Is their hair being the same way for the last 3 weeks and there's a smell or
like let's wrap that all together to say poor hygiene.
Poor hygiene. Okay. because I remember this girl, and I remember her name in the 6th grade, Yesenia. She sat in front of me in Miss Thomas' class, and I remember seeing
She just putting all her
lice,
business out.
lice crawling through her hair,
Yeah, lice
and
is
I'm just like, what?
and it's been like it's levels to that too. You know what I mean? And that could cause main reason like sexually active.
Mm.
Like knowing a lot, just showing a child, sharing certain videos and all that is an indicator. Like
Especially today with maybe my kids don't have cell phones, but kids at school have cell phones and they have access to so much.
But that's the thing. I tell people once again all the time. You watching all these videos and these movies and these shows with sex scenes and things in front of you, that is that type of abuse. It's no
Yeah.
that is identified. That's when it identifies. So when they start mimicking and reacting or acting out on other kids, that's a sign too.
Okay.
I've had cases where I've had kids abuse other kids, and yeah,
You got 2 more.
yeah, Queen. Two more that take talk about hygiene. We talk about fear of adults. It's one that is really, I think I talked about hyper emotional, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a clear if they're like cry, like if they're in class and something other kids may think it's small and they just cry, break out in tears, or it may be something else is happening that may be an issue.
You did mention earlier flinching.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about like just hey, and they just fall down, turn around. It's a lot of that would happen, and stealing. Stealing food, hiding food,
What?
hoarding food. Hoarding food is a lot.
Hoarding.
It's like think of not a joking way, but think of Napoleon Dynamite with the tater tots in his pocket.
I love Napoleon Dynamite. Can you bring me my chapstick?
Hey,
No.
you see that a lot, man.
Wow.
Like, and that's just something you catch out in public. Like it's, and that's just with the parents not being involved. When I tell you when kids, they don't want to go home. They'll try to stay away as much as they can.
This is a gripe, a peeve that I have as a parent. Seeing a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old with a pacifier.
You see that? How you seen that? Did you see me that TikTok with that woman that she sucks on the pacifier too long and she can't? She got a big old gap in her teeth.
No, I didn't. But
she could have her mouth closed like this. She can pick her whole tongue
yeah,
through it.
I feel like that leads to delayed speech, and I feel like
that's another one too. Delayed speech, all that mental cognitive delays. That's a whole nother one.
I feel like that should be like something where, okay, your pediatrician has said something to you about this. You haven't done anything. The teacher says something to you about this. Your child is not reading on the proper level. They don't say certain words.
And that's all I was trying to say, something with the kids show. If the parents don't show up to PTA meetings, if the parents don't show up any type of way, they will return notes home from school. It's so many different things that can show. It doesn't mean, and we got to look at what some parents or some people don't understand exactly what neglect is. Maybe the parent may have forgotten or something happened, but as even Briss was saying, you got to look at some extreme issues, and as Stretcher showed up, and I said it earlier on, teachers are mandated reporters. Same thing with nurses, doctors, physicians in total. You're if something happened to a child and you see it, and you like some people like, oh, well, I recognize it, I just didn't want to call. You could be held liable, for that. And that's why that's a loophole. That's another loophole. Parents, they know that person's going to call in, so I'm gonna stop bringing you around them.
how is this handled? This situation right here, where I think the generation before is like really neglectful in this way, where they know of a family member that frequents a household where there's kids that has history and rumors of abusing kids in a sexual way or abusive way, and the family is on some that's family business, but that person is constantly around. Like, how is that handled?
Is he around alone with the children, or he around with the adults?
Both.
If he's around alone with the children, all those parents, kids could be placed in CPS custody. That is neglect.
Mm,
That's the thing. You're placing your children in possible harm.
yeah.
There's no arguing with that. That's like one, two, three. For instance, if you knew a family member that had their children removed from or have an active CPS case, would you allow that family member? They don't have their kids. Will you allow that family member to watch your kids or babysit your kids?
Me, no, but I do know some people that are like, I know you ain't got Tay Tay in them, but can you watch such and such?
Yeah, they are not allowed to watch children. And with you knowing that, I don't say if you didn't know, but if you know that, you just place your children in danger. You just neglected your kids. Back because whatever you had to do, you put in front of your children. You didn't want that. Resource is the main thing people need. But I know this is I didn't comment on it a lot because they really could have used. I wish they didn't use children for that skit because I saw it when it first came out. But that situation with Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears
Yeah.
happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
With men and women, because
yep.
people try to act like women don't abuse children just because they're women. You think your child is safe now?
But if you watch the skit, they're like how I'm about to go to the club, I'm about to go out, make an excuse, I'm gonna drop my kids over here, even though this dude's a creep.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that it happens.
Well, I sent you a video this week where um this lady was trying to make this Uber driver feel bad because he didn't want to drop her 5-year-old son or 6-year-old son off at school down the street. And my thing is like, these Uber and Lyft people are regular people. They don't really do a clear, deep background check. And if you can't take your child to school because lack of car or whatever, you better walk. You better walk. If it's 4 minutes down the street, like she said on that video, you better walk your son to school. Like, I feel like a lot of these parents today are super careless with their children and just give their kids to anybody.
It's not a lot of the parents today. It's just neglectful parents. But let's say it. It's not parents today. It's just neglectful parents over time in history.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Them parents in Atlanta in the 80s that had their kids just out and about despite them black kids showing up missing. Ain't no way. You're not going outside.
You gotta realize everybody didn't have a family that loved them. Even though my mother neglected me with certain parts of my life because of her demons that she was fighting, I knew she loved me. And I knew I had resources and that's the thing about it. Her, unfortunately, like once again, I'm not excusing none of that, but I had resources, thank God, that would help me out in life to be substantial and be as successful I am now. And that's why I try to mentor and give back in the life I'm living at the moment, But
yeah,
everybody didn't have that.
And there's an app that I like to tell parents about on this show a lot that's free. If you want to upgrade it in the app, you can. It's called the Offender Locator. Well, you can't really see it, but basically it's an app you can download whether you have Google or iPhone, and you put your address in, and it tells you all the people around in a certain mile range of your home who have offenses. It shows their picture. You can call the police station to get the details on what it was. Um, because I feel like you just assuming, okay, my kids live at home, I keep a clean home, I feed them, they're fine. They only play with the kids in the neighborhood, but not knowing your neighbor, or not knowing who's down the street, or my kids know where the bus stop is, they can go to the bus stop themselves. It is dark when I take my elementary kids out to the bus stop. I will never have them walk out to the bus stop by themselves. It is nothing for somebody to drive past that bus stop and snatch your kid up.
Yeah, trust me, my mama. We used to walk out in the dark. Once again, the problem with I asked a question about latchkey kids. Man,
I just found out what that was last week.
What? As much as I talk about latchkey kids,
I know. I told y'all in the chat, like, it didn't click because I was thinking of it to be like this some other word. I'm just like, what is? Oh, it makes sense.
What's the name of the app again?
Offender Locator.
Offender Locator. So, yeah. For instance, latchkey kids, that could be, some people can use that as neglect, because there's no age for a latchkey kid. It's really the maturity of that child and understanding, the intelligence of that child. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that simple as it is. You can Google it right now. But it's to the point, like, for instance, my mama, I was a latchkey kid for a young age, and my mama took off. I guess she thought, oh, I'll be all right. And when she battling her demons and all that, I think I never got a clear answer to what happened.
What age were you when she gave you a key or told you, let yourself in the house?
When I got my first key, sheesh, maybe 8.
What?
Yeah. Like, I gotta go find that video again I put on TikTok. People were talking about, like, some people were talking about 5. I was like, 5, and me, I'm a little young, but
a little young. What? I would never give Ari a key. I would never give Anya a key.
But it's the same thing with my partner. So, for instance, things are different. Culture has changed. It was probably younger back in the day before us. For instance, I asked my partner, 5th grade, so you was 10. So, like, I asked my best friend, like my godson. Well, I asked my best friend. I knew what time when we got a key to the house. We were about the same age. My godson is what, 15 now, and I asked him, I asked my homeboy maybe 2 years ago. I said, "Hey, man, would you give my godson so you give him a key to the house?" He like, "Hell no. I want to let him use the toaster. What do you mean?" I was like, it was like, he said, that boy different. And that's like, these kids, a lot of these kids, and that's a conversation I look forward to having. Shout out to Kira with Moms and Martinis. That's another podcast. Check out. Use discernment. Yes, discernment is absolutely needed. But everybody's discernment different. Everybody's discernment is different. But the whole focus is the change in maturity and behavior in certain, key. Like, for instance, me and my brother, like, we act completely different. He didn't have a key to that. I used to have to watch over him, even though we're 20 months apart. We're both adults now, and we still act completely. I act like I'm probably like 46 or something like that. I act much older than what I am, and he act much younger than what he is. But we're only like a year and a half apart. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. But all in all, when it comes down to safety for children and, throughout time, these kids got other things they have to worry about compared to what we had to worry about, and vice versa, Yeah. Because a lot of things that our age, our generation should be paying attention to, but we don't, is internet violence, internet dangers, okay? Yeah. Like, I've told numerous people in my family, you need to check these kids' phones all the time.
Phones, iPads,
You know what I mean? All
computers.
that. Okay, I got a quick joke, quick thing. I embarrassed the shit out of myself. I was talking to my wife and my nephew. Both my nephews turned 16. And I was like, man, one of them talking about getting a car. And I yelled, I said, what we can get him? I said, because she was like, we should get him a car. I said, I ain't getting that boy no car. That's too much. I said, I get him a CD player to go in his car. She like, a what? I was like, a CD player. She was like, you old ass motherfucker. I was like, oh my God. Oh, because I meant that like, oh my God. I didn't know how to respond to that. I was like,
Yeah.
like, because that was the big thing. When you got a car, you had to get you a CD player.
Let me tell you.
That's like somebody tell me get an 8-track player. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you, I went to the thrift store the other day, and there was a guy out in the parking lot pushing his CD. Do you want to super? I said, sir,
you can get this on Spotify.
It is 2022. Most of these cars don't have a CD player. I got a 2017. Ain't no CD player in it. It's Bluetooth or you connect with the USB. I said you could be making so much money on TikTok with downloads, plays, Spotify and iTunes. Why are you out here pushing something people can't play? And you ain't even playing it. I said you pushing the wrong hustle.
Nothing to play. He ain't got nothing to play it on. But I don't know. But that's a different culture. Once again, culture has changed. Okay. Yes. So the culture of parenting has shifted as well. The culture of the children and their actions and how they engage with one another in society. I was talking to one of my coworkers. She's she's like in her early 20s. Mm-hmm. And we were just having a good conversation at the front. And she was like, yeah, it's crazy how the internet is, because she grew up with internet, like chat rooms and all that was popping, She was like, she said we all was talking to older men. Like we were like 13, 14. We all talking to like men in their 20s and 30s. And I'm like, what?
Wow. Like even now,
to catch a predator?
Listen, even now with Anya, like a lot of these kid games have chats within. And so even though you don't see a chat happening on our standard social media, it's happening within their games.
I'm a gamer.
And they be talking spicy, don't they? Them little kids.
Yeah. I don't like playing with little kids, first and foremost. And these kids slick. These kids slick. They'll join the game, don't say nothing, act like they got a mic, but you see like the mic icon going. And as soon as you get close in the game, oh.
But we talk all the time. I'm just like, she'll be like, so I'm in this chat and this person told me this. And I didn't give him my real name. I told him my name was this. I told him they asked me, am I from this? I told him this. Because if your child, again, discernment is not at an age where they understand, do not give them your real name. Do not post a picture of you outside in the house or a picture of the neighbor's house, because Google search photos is real and accurate.
So
I used it the other day to find the shirt. Let
me talk to you real quick. Hey man, sorry, we're doing a show. Check us out Monday. You'll love it. So, I took in a family member at the age of 28.
Yes.
Okay. We were going to take PMC. All right. Mm-hmm. She hear this, love you, but this is what made me upset. You hear everything what Miss Shan just said. Mm-hmm. And this is like the first 3 days she was there. She gave out our home address, like full information, to someone that was supposed to quote unquote send her a gift card. And I'm like, you did what? Who's this person? Oh, I don't know. Where you found them? Oh, through the internet. And she was 15. And she was mad why she didn't get a key to the house.
What? I didn't get a key until I was 15.
How were you acting, Shan? Because you was getting hit by cars.
For no later, I was 7. But No, but I didn't get a key because my mom was always home. And then when I lived with my aunt, when I first came to Atlanta, I didn't really need a key because we had a code for the garage and the.
Okay, but that's different. Okay, that's different. That's the same thing. If you had a way to get in the house without your parents being there, that's a latchkey kid, and they can't that's the thing. We had certain rules: don't answer the phone, don't answer the door, don't do none of all. There's plenty of jokes out here about
Let me
that.
tell you, you know you country when your mom don't trust you with a key, but she tell you just go around the back of the house and go through this window. This window will be open.
Oh, so for instance, when my mama left, that's what I was doing. I was going climbing to the window every day. So I would lock up when I was but when I go to school, I go out the front, but lock the thing behind me. So and when I came back, I knew what house I go and jump in the door. But so much dangerous and crazy things to happen in this world if somebody would try to. Oh my gosh! But all in all being said, it's one of those things where with kids now, some kids would know. Unfortunately, that's a conversation. Like I went through some things in life. Like I used to have to take care of my grandparents. My grandmother had Alzheimer's. My grandfather, I used to have to change his diaper, his urinal. He was like, it was a lot of things. I had a lot of responsibility as a child, a lot to that. Like I used to, like when people talk about they miss being a kid, I never want to go back in time, like, because it's like, I love being an adult. Motherfucking being a kid for me was hell. I be hearing y'all like y'all doing something wrong. Like this is pretty cool. Like I'm like, man, I'm like y'all are tripping. Like and that's a part of that's part of neglect too. I don't want to call it neglect. I don't know what to call that. I can't call it neglect because I ain't gonna say I don't want to be like Michael Jackson. I didn't have a childhood, but I didn't have the normal childhood people had.
The two of us will look normal. I feel
I'm
like
telling you,
that is
that's what's the
abuse.
feeling.
That is abuse. I feel like as a mom, that is abuse to completely push the priority of your child being a child on the back burner for them to have fame.
But that's different. Okay, you talking about that. But that's the thing about what do you want? Because same thing with some of these kids playing sports. Some of these dads and push their kids hard. They're there in their life, but they push them kids hard to be successful.
Same.
So, but then their kid ain't broke. Their kid ain't doing. They well. People want to be like them. It's kind of to that point of it's once again, it's no rule books for being a parent.
There's no rule books, but I feel like in everything it requires balance. And even kids where you were an older sibling, I feel like a form of abuse as a parent is allowing an older sibling to do too much for the younger one. And then if it's a girl, turn around and she 15 and she pregnant. Maybe because most of her life she felt like she was a parent already and she could do it.
And once again, Brister is touching on exactly what I was touching on earlier, but that's culture. You feel me? That's how things used to be.
I know, but
the regular age of pregnancy used to be in teens.
It ain't right. And if you go to the Midwest, it's 14.
If we talking about really how things go down, and once again, then we got to talk about poverty.
That too.
Sometimes you have no other choice.
And then with this government now, you really don't have no other choice.
And that's what I'm telling you. All this shit, like all this stuff is kind of like sometimes, unless you know how to break it, get out of it. Your book, if you allow people to write your book and write your life for you, it's written. But if you don't believe in a higher power and it's what God has put for you in your life, and what I say, you go fall victim to that. That's my opinion. You feel me? And that's what I've shown. Because once again, I am not supposed to be where I'm at in life right now. I am not. With the things that I've faced, the things that I've seen, once again, when I'm talking about the stuff I've been through, I'm very light about it. Very light. But it's deep how crazy things that I've seen and gone through, and I still can get on here and wish y'all good morning and all that stuff every day almost, you know? So,
I really feel like the people that bring the most peace and joy in their adulthood had some dark upbringing as children.
but it's not
And
only my upbringing, it's also my work. I've seen kids that, man, what am I complaining for? You know?
yeah.
That's my thought. Like, you know, if my mentee in here, if you see it, man, hey, somebody got it worse than you.
Mm,
Somebody's doing much. Man, I got an opportunity to make every day better.
yeah.
I'm over here eating sunflower seeds. I got lights around me. I'm on the end. Like I'm having a conversation with folks from Zoom to TikTok. I'm in anybody come to my house, they're like, "Oh my God, your house is beautiful. I got a beautiful wife, man. I'm sexy. All these privileges and good things that are
Come
happening, man.
on.
You know, I'm like, I'm grateful for that. But if I
Yeah.
always lean on what I don't have, because I've had nothing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've had like zero, zero, zero. I've been depressed. I've had all those things. And when I work with these kids and these families and I see what they're going through and experiencing, I'm like, man, I see them still smiling. I
Mm-hmm.
see them just be grateful for one another. Like, and there's a different type of thing. So that's why I say the people you have, the love you have for one another, what you build, what you make important to you is what you make important to you. You know?
Yeah.
But be careful when you're doing so. Like understanding what joy actually means. But that's why I started Everythang Culture, so people can actually understand something deeper other than what other people want from you. But when it comes down to CPS and it
Mm-hmm.
comes down to protecting the community, it's emotional work because it's Jesus. I believe that children are our future. These kids that we're raising now that we see coming up are the ones going to make decisions for us when we're old and gray and can't move around well. It may be the ones that may be helping you out, bringing you food or cooking you something at a restaurant or just donating something, or be the ones trying to kick your front door in.
All right.
All right, what type of legacy are we leaving? Because you're gonna
Right.
need somebody always.
I believe the children of the future. Drake, I would just like to say this has been a great um episode, a good
Always.
conversation. And
Always.
we inform some people, we share some things, you share some things, you got more things to share on Everythang Culture podcast. He is starting something new and great on Monday. So make sure y'all check out that episode and this series. Check out his TikTok, Everythang Culture, and find him on YouTube, Everythang Culture, because when we share, we grow and we stop being ignorant. Um, when we know better, we share more, we inform other people that don't know, and this world could stop being such an ignorant place. Because
Mm,
I think ignorance just stunts people from opportunity. Not sharing knowledge to me has always been selfish. That's why I appreciate and I love pouring into people. I like informing people. I like sharing my experiences with people so they can make better decisions for themselves, because Drake's decisions to do what he does doesn't mean I have to follow the same thing and vice versa. But
mm,
just to have the insight can go a long way to prepare to be better, to know better, and to have access to the knowledge to be better. I think is really good. So check out Everythang Culture. Thank you to everybody that's been on Drake's TikTok. I didn't want to go on it because I didn't want it to echo, but
I know. I was trying to find a way to fix that.
yeah, I
But
appreciate it.
you
I
mind if I
mean,
drop our mission statement?
yes, drop that thing.
Okay, because I'm okay. So once again, this is Drake with Everythang Culture podcast for all cultures, the podcast with a purpose. our mission statement, it is based off the words from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and that is he believed that men hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other, and they don't know each other because of segregation. And because of segregation, we have miscommunication. So we built this podcast on the pillars of respect, communication, and consistency, so we can get to know each other, so we can love one another. Yeah.
Boom. This man does this in Twitter Spaces. He does this on TikTok. He does this on IG, and he does this on his podcast. And we good. It's good. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please check out Cozy Womb Podcast and Everything Culture on your favorite podcast app. Please leave a review, rate it, share it, and let us know why
Run
you're
it up.
listening and who's listening. And you can find us on Twitter. Don't be a stranger and all of that jazz. My name is Shan, mama of the girls. Thank you for listening. We could all be better parents, even the ones that are not physically parenting. You can be verbally parenting, responsibly parenting, and be a part of this village because it takes a community. Thank you. We at.
Peace.
Thank you guys for checking out the episode. Don't forget to follow the podcast and tweet us and leave a review on your favorite podcast app. Bye.